Hello, students! Welcome once again to another session of our online course. I hope that you enjoyed the previous session we had. Now, for this session, we will talking about past tense. We use past tense to refer to an action or event that began and was completed at a particular moment of time in the past. We will use this particular tense of verb to answer questions about us in the past. The application of this topic is to get to know people and tell something about our past. We have a listening activity, but before I play the audio recording, please prepare any writing material or computer notes. I want you to write the questions being asked in the conversation on getting to know a person. Okay? So there's a lot of questions that you will hear, but I want you to write only questions about getting to know a person. Are you ready? So please listen very carefully.
Interchange, 5th edition, by Jack C. Richards, with Jonathan Hull and Susan Proctor. This class audio program contains recordings that correspond to Student's Book 2. Published by Cambridge University Press. This recording is copyrighted. Unit 1, Good Memories. Page 2, Exercise 2. Where did you learn to skateboard? Part A. Listen and practice.
Oh, I'm really sorry. Are you okay?
I'm fine, but I'm not very good at this.
Neither am I. Hey, I like your shirt. Are you from Argentina?
Yes, I am, originally. I was born there.
Did you grow up there?
Yes, I did. But my family moved here 10 years ago, when I was in middle school.
And where did you learn to skateboard?
Here, in the park. I only started about a month ago.
Well, it's my first time. Can you give me some lessons?
Sure, just follow me.
By the way, my name is Isabel.
And I'm Nico. Nice to meet you.
If you answer, are you from Argentina? Or did you grow up there? Or where did you learn to skateboard? Then you are correct. These are all questions about getting to know a person. But for the meantime, I want you to focus on this question. Did you grow up there? Before answering, we have to analyze the question first. We need to know whether the question is about the past, present, or future. It is important to know this because our answer will depend on whether what tense of the verb is to be used. The next one is, we also need to know what kind of question is it, a WH or a yes or no question. WH questions are what, where, when, who, and how. If this is the question, this requests specific details or facts on what is being asked. Now, on the other hand, yes or no questions are questions answerable by yes or no. Normally, this question starts with did, are, were, or was. And the last one is we need to know who is being asked, because it matters on how you would respond afterward. Considering the analysis on the questions, we are now ready to give the answer. The first consideration is the question about the past, present, or future? Because of the presence of the word did. We know that this question is about the past. So when we are giving the answer, all verbs should be in past tense. Remember, all verbs should be in the past tense. Okay? The next consideration is it a WH or a yes or no question? Since the question starts with the word did, then it is a yes or no question. The third consideration is who is being asked. Since you are being asked, it is expected that you need to answer in first person singular point of view, or you can just simply say I. So with all these consideration answered, let us now give our response. Yes. This is to answer a yes or no question. I, because you are being asked. Grew up, because we need to transpose the verb to past tense. There. So, the correct response to this question is yes, I grew up there. We have here another example of questions on getting to know a person. Please remember every consideration before answering every question. So the first question is, where were you born? One more time. Where were you born? So before answering this question, remember our three different considerations. The first consideration is it about the past, present, or future? Now, I want you to take a look at this word, were. The verb is in past tense, so it demands information about the past. The second consideration is it a WH or a yes or no question? Since the question is where, it is obvious that it is a WH question and it requires a specific details in response. The third consideration is who is being asked. Now, in this question, it's you, right? Where were you born? So we have answered three different considerations and we are now ready to answer. Alright, let's answer. I, because it is you are being asked. Okay? Was, because you are talking about things in the past. Born in Argentina. It is to answer the question where. Okay, so the proper response to the question, where were you born, is I was born in Argentina. So when we connect this one, I in response to you, was in response to where, and born in Argentina to answer the question where. Did you get it? Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Were you born in Buenos Aires? One more time. Were you born in Buenos Aires? Can you say it for me? Were you born in Buenos Aires? Okay. So now let's take a look with the considerations. The first consideration is it about the past, present, or future? Because of the word were, we know that this question talks about the past or demanding details about the past. Okay, the next consideration is it a WH question or a yes or no? Again, because the question starts with the word were, this demands a yes or no answer. So obviously, this is a yes or no question. And the last consideration is who is being asked. Now, in this question, it is you are being asked. Okay, so let's move on to your possible response. Since it is a yes or no question, you have to answer yes or no right away. Okay, so in the beginning of your answer, you have to say yes or no. I, because you are being asked, and was, because you are talking about things in the past. If you have a negative response, then you can say no, I was not, or simply say I wasn't. I was born in Cordoba. This is to give the correct answer in connection to the question. Okay? The next question is, when did you move to Los Angeles? One more time. When did you move to Los Angeles? Can you say it again? When did you move to Los Angeles? Okay. Three considerations again. Are we talking about past, present, or future? Of course, because of the presence of the word did, we are talking about past or things in the past. The next consideration, is it a WH question or a yes or no question? Since the question starts with the word when, it is a WH question and it requires a specific response. And the last consideration, who is being asked? In this case, it's you. So to answer this question, let's start with the first one, I, because you are being asked. Move. Okay. Again, move with ed. Now take a look. You will notice here there's a difference between move and move, because we transpose the verb here to be in the past tense, because we're talking now about past. I moved here 10 years ago. Okay, 10 years ago is the response to the question when. So the question is, when did you move to Los Angeles? I moved here 10 years ago, to answer the question when. And the supplemental answer, I didn't speak English. I didn't speak English. Okay? The last question is quite similar from the previous one, or where were you born? Because it talks about a yes or no question. Did you take English classes in Argentina? Did you take English classes in Argentina? Can you say it again? Did you take English classes in Argentina? Okay, obviously we have to answer a yes or a no response. So if your answer is affirmative, you will say yes, I, because you are being asked, because here we have the word you. Did, because you are talking about things in the past. Yes, I did. Okay, the past tense of the word take is took. So you will say, I took classes for a year. This is a supplemental information to give more sufficient information on the question. So to answer, yes, I did. If your answer is affirmative, I took classes for a year. But if your answer is negative, you will say no, I did not, or I didn't. Okay, because you are still talking about things in the past. And a supplemental answer or additional information is this one. My aunt taught me at home. Now, why taught? Because we need to transpose the word teach in past tense, so it should be taught. So again, if your answer is negative, you will say, no, I didn't. My aunt taught me at home. So I hope you understand now how to give response to questions about you in the past. So to continue with our lesson, let's play a fun and quick game. I will show you pictures as clues. You will try to complete the questions and what are the possible answers to the question. Are you ready? Okay. The first picture is this one. And the question is, where blank last holiday? What do you think is the correct or complete question? Okay, so if your answer is, where did you go last holiday? Then you are correct. Now, if the question is, where did you go last holiday? What is the correct answer? Your clue is the picture. Think. Remember all the considerations before answering. Is it about a WH question or about the past? And who is being asked? If your answer is, I went to Disneyland last holiday, then you are correct. Why? I is for the consideration of who is being asked. Went, because the past tense of go is went, and to Disneyland to answer where. Okay, I went to Disneyland last holiday. If you got this, then you are correct. Congratulations. So let's move on to the next one. The next picture is this. And what do you think is the complete question? Did blank English at home? Think. What do you think is the complete question? Okay, if your answer is, did you study? Did you study English at home? Then you are correct. Congratulations and good job. Now, what do you think is the answer or possible answers to this question? Think. Did you study English at home? Time's up. If your answer is affirmative, obviously you should say yes. I, because talks about you. Studied, because we need to transpose study to past tense. English at home. So yes, I studied English at home. Sorry, I have to move my head so that you can see it. Yes, I studied English at home. The other one, or the other answer or response to this question is when you have a negative response. You can say, no, I didn't. I studied English at school. So that is when you have a negative response. Either way, you are correct. Congratulations and good job. Let's move on to the next one. So the next picture is this. What do you think is the complete question for this picture? Where blank primary education? Okay, so think, what is the correct or complete question for this picture? Where blank primary education? So if your answer is where did you get your primary education, then your answer is correct. So the correct question for this one is, where did you get your primary education? So think of the three considerations you have to remember before answering this one. Okay, so I'll give you time to think. And whenever you're ready, you can answer the question. Okay, so to answer this question with the three considerations from our previous slides, you can answer, I got my primary education at ACT. Okay, so I, because you are being asked, got here because we need to transpose the verb into past tense, and then the details. My primary education, where? To answer the question where, you could say at ACT, depending where did you get your primary education. So the correct answer for this one is, I got my primary education at ACT. Okay, did you get it? So if this is your answer, you are correct. So let's move on to the next picture. So looking at the picture, what do you think is the correct question for this one? To complete the question, how blank when you learn to ride a bike? How blank when you learn to ride a bike? So the picture should be your clue. Okay, if your answer is how old were you when you get or when you learn to ride a bike, then you are correct. Okay, because the picture talks about basically about your past, because you're younger then. So how old were you when you learned to ride a bike? To answer this question, you have again to remember three considerations. Analyze the questions first. I'll give you time to think. Okay, if your answer is I was 7 years old when I learned to ride a bike. Okay, so I, because you are being asked, was, because we need to transpose all the verb into past tense, were and was, 7 years old, to answer the question, how old? And then the supporting details, when I learned to ride a bike. Did you get it? Okay, very good. So if that is your answer, then you are correct. Good job. I have here a listening test, but before I play the audio recording, make sure you have a writing material with you or anything that you can write your notes. To give you a brief background about the audio recording, this is an interview about two immigrants to the United States. Listen to them and answer the following questions. The first question is, what were the most difficult changes for Enrique and for Jessica? The next question is, what do they miss the most for Enrique and for Jessica? I will only play the audio recording twice. Please listen carefully. Are you ready? Okay, let's begin.
Page 3, Exercise 4. Listening. Why did you move? Part A. Listen to interviews with two immigrants to the United States. Why did they move to the USA? Enrique.
So where are you from originally, Enrique?
I'm from Mexico, near Chiapas.
And when did you move here to New York?
When I was 18 years old, I came here to study.
What did you study?
I studied business. I wanted to return to Mexico afterwards, but I found a great job here in New York.
I see. So you're an immigrant to the United States.
That's right.
What was the most difficult thing about moving to the U.S.?
Well, I don't have any relatives here, and in the beginning, it was hard. You see, in Mexico, we spend a lot of time with family. But now I have a lot of friends here, and it's easier.
So what things do you miss the most from home?
Oh, that's easy. The food. There are some great Mexican restaurants here, but it's not the same as my mother's cooking.
Jessica.
Hi, Jessica. Where are you from?
Hi, I'm from South Korea, but I've lived here in the U.S. since I was a teenager.
And why did you move to the U.S.?
I came here to go to high school and improve my English.
And are you studying now?
No, I finished college last year, and now I'm working as an engineer in New York.
That's great. And what was it like when you first came here? Was it difficult?
Yeah, it was at times. The biggest change was the school system. They organize classes differently here. I think students have more free time here than in South Korea, but I like it.
And what do you miss the most from South Korea?
My family. I try to go home often, but it's expensive and far. I miss the music too, but fortunately, I can listen to a lot of it online.
Okay, so now let's try to answer the following questions here. So now let's check if your answers are correct. So to answer the question, what were the most difficult changes for Enrique? If you answer not spending time with family, then you are correct. So Enrique mentioned that one of the most difficult changes he experienced during his stay in the United States is not spending time with his family. What about what do they miss the most? For Enrique, the food. So Enrique missed Mexican foods. Okay. What about for Jessica? What were the most difficult changes for Jessica? If you answer the school system is difficult, then you are correct. She mentioned that it is very different than the school system they had in South Korea. And what do they miss the most, especially for Jessica? If you answer family and music, then you are correct. So, this is our little listening activity. I hope everyone got correct answers. This is the end of our recorded lesson for session 2. Now, please move to the forum section so we can have a live discussion on the lesson. I'll see you there. Goodbye.